Coming up on the Sports Desk, the basketball season has tipped off, and at West High, that means new hope for a rebuilt program. Meanwhile, on the pitch, the Torrance Tartars were the co-champs of the Pioneer League last winter. Only their rival Spartans outlasted them in the playoffs. The only thing left to do this year is get back to work. And finally, he's the first South Bay local invited to surfing's most sacred event. Alex Gray goes from his first wave at Torrance Beach to joining a historic list of watermen. All that with updates from around Torrance's sports scene. The Sports Desk starts right now. How's it going, Torrance? Great to see you here on the Sports Desk. I'm your host, Juan Hernandez. This week, things start off with the team we didn't get to see a lot of last year. While the Bishop boys were busy winning a state championship in 2013 and the Lady Knights won a CIF banner of their own, or even the West Warriors girls basketball team winning their own CIF championship, the boys of West High labored through a winless Bay League docket. They gathered just a handful of wins all season, but this is a new season with a clean slate. So let's get things started. The West Warriors taking on Port of LA in their first game of the season. First quarter, Craig Muriuma dishes to Joshua Staffieri. Staffieri just getting warmed up. Same quarter, apparently the Polar Bears needed a t-shirt timeout, but play would eventually resume. Second quarter, this is where the Warriors would start to pull away. Staffieri hits the three. He would have 21 points in this one, 23-10 West. Noah Carroll-Hill with the miss, but Joshua Staffieri with the putback. West puts up 54 points in the first half. Carroll here with the dish, Staffieri with the bucket. The Warriors with a commanding 61-27 lead. Christian Jackson now with the sweep move. In the fourth quarter, West up big. Anthony Hanna with the three ball. That's good. West goes on to win this one 81-40. So the Warriors couldn't be happier on opening night than to get their first win out of the way right out the gate. Now that that's crossed off the to-do list, our Colin Kushner gives you a look at what the Warriors have in store for their first season in the Pioneer League.
Coach Ferrudo and the West Warrior basketball team had their share of struggles last season. So let's fast forward to now. With more experienced players and 1 year of coaching under his belt, Ferrudo's squad is ready to take their game to the next level.
We had a great summer and we had a good fall in terms of playing in a fall league, and our practices have gotten much, much better. There's more bounce in their step. But like I said, it's a process and they're starting to understand the system now. I came in and changed everything from top to bottom. And it's difficult for kids. And we were young last year. We had very little varsity experience on the team, but it's paying off now.
It was a new beginning as a team. We had new players, not many guys know each other. We were just trying to get a feel of each other, but this year we got it all together. I feel like we have a better chance of winning Pioneer League and probably even going farther in CIF.
This is the first season that West will not be a part of the Bay League. For the 2014-15 season, West made the switch to the Pioneer League, where they'll be going up against some familiar foes.
I think the competition in the Pioneer League is going to be much, much better with the neighborhood schools, as you mentioned, North, South, and Torrance. And I think that's really the way high school basketball should be, with neighborhood kids playing against neighborhood schools. And so we finally get that opportunity now with the Pioneer League.
And for senior Christian Jackson, that means playing against a pretty familiar face. His younger brother Giovanni, who plays for Torrance.
My brother, he also goes to Torrance High School. That'll be a good matchup too. So I'm just ready.
With 7 seniors on the roster, you can expect these guys to have a huge role in leading West this season. Reporting for the Sports Desk, I'm Colin Kushner.
Thanks for that, Colin. It was a busy first week of games for the Warriors at the West Coast Shores Classic. They win 2, lose 2, 4 games in 4 days to start off the season with a 2-2 record. Next tourney for them will be the Irvine World News Classic, then off to Vegas to finish out the calendar year in Sin City. Pioneer League play will start the middle of January. Now a quick look through that Pioneer League as other teams tipped off their season. The Torrance Tartars hit up the Miracosta Pacific Shores Tournament, where they fell to both Gardena and Brentwood. In non-league action against Carson, Torrance squeaks out a 2-point win, 47-45, under second-year head coach Paul Nataki. And the Spartans' first weeks weren't slated for a preseason tourney. They lost their season opener back before Thanksgiving, then again in the first week of December on the road. Finally, to open up the Valley Christian Classic, they have very little offensive output against Whittier Christian, and they fall 47-36. Meanwhile, the North Saxons, they go 2-2 in the competitive Trevor Ariza Classic. They struggle against Beverly Hills and Taft, losing by close to 20 points in each, but they do bounce back against San Gabriel Academy to close out the tourney appearance with a W. Speaking of the Trevor Ariza Classic, it's a tournament that's turned into a bit of a coming out party for the Bishop Montgomery basketball team year in and year out. Of course, this year the spotlight is especially bright on Doug Mitchell's team, as the Westchester Showcase would be everyone's first look at the defending CIF Division IV state champs. And for the fourth year in a row, the Knights start off their season as champs of the Trevor Ariza Classic. Stevie Thompson Jr. is named MVP of the tourney after scoring 30 points in the championship game over St. John Bosco. The win moves the Knights up to 5-0 to start their 2014 campaign. For the ladies in Torrance, the tourney to watch was Redondo's Battle at the Beach, as it would feature just about everybody in town, since that list included two defending CIF champions, the West Warriors and the Bishop Montgomery Knights, as well as a CIF semifinalist North Saxon squad. You could say the lineup was a bit stacked for Torrance girls hoops. The Saxons make a perfect march through their first week at the Battle at the Beach. PV, Centennial, Westchester, and Edison all fall to North High. The Saxons' biggest win, that 30-point drubbing over Westchester. No run-ins with other Torrance schools, though, so that drama will be saved for later in the season. So far, the Saxons feeling good with an undefeated record to start things off. The Knights didn't fare so well against the field in Redondo. They do pull off the win over Mark Keppel. Mark Keppel is actually the school Kylie Fujioka transferred to after leading last year's West Warriors to their championship season. And speaking of Kylie's old team, the Warriors opened up the tournament on the 1st of December with the loss to powerhouse Sarah. Well, they bounced back with close wins over Harvard Westlake and Windward. That pointed them toward a date with former Bay League rivals Miracosta in the Consolation Championship. Haley Tanabe comes through with a game-winning three in double overtime to pull off the 50-49 win. Jasmine Jones had 19 points and 18 rebounds in the game, earning herself an all-tourney selection to start off the season. All right, everybody, coming up, you're all caught up on the hardwood. Now we move to the pitch. The Torrance Tartars gear up for an early season run at their biggest rival. Is the season opener a solid warm-up for a tough South Torrance tourney ahead?
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
The great outside.
We both love the outdoors.
So shiny.
That's not a flower. We both love geology.
Oh, look. An igneous one.
That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Something's not right.
My first symptoms were
constant tingling in my toes.
My legs, sometimes they'll go numb.
Double vision. They said you have multiple sclerosis.
Well, the beginning is the hardest time.
Kind of had to get a grasp on reality.
I had to adapt and change very rapidly.
I had to learn how to drive with my hands. Yeah, that was interesting.
I was a dancer. I don't see walking the way I walk any different than doing a dance. It just looks different. It's a different dance.
You see me have an off day, it doesn't take away from who I am.
A symptom may cause you not to be able to do that anymore. And at one point, I wasn't able to do any of those.
But I would exercise every day.
Since I've been cycling, it's definitely helped my walking.
To make a lot of changes in my life and just adapt to it.
I'm going to acknowledge its presence. I'm not going to discount it. But at the same time, I'm going to try my best to not let it stop me.
It's a fantastic opportunity to be working together with a common goal of curing MS, and sharing is the key.
Hi everybody, welcome back. We're going to pick up right where we left off and update you on some more prep sports scores. First up, the last time we saw the South Spartans volleyball squad, they were tearing through the early rounds of the CIF SoCal Regional Tournament. 4 of their 9 postseason wins went to 5 games, so their playoff experience wasn't exactly a walk in the park, which made a matchup with the nation's top-ranked Archbishop Mitty the only appropriate foe in a state championship game. After dropping the first 2 sets of the night, The Spartans fight back to win the third. In the fourth, still hoping to play in their fifth 5-game match of the postseason, they exchanged leads 8 times. Midi eventually went on an 8-2 rally to collect their third win, 25-19. So South finishes CIF state runner-up. It's the furthest the South volleyball program has ever gone in the postseason, previously making it no deeper than the second round of the SoCal regional playoffs. Meanwhile, the El Camino Warriors were the other Torrance team to look out for on the volleyball court this fall. On September 13th and September 17th, the Warriors lost back-to-back matches before they'd embark on their conference season. For the next 2 months, they'd rally off 14 regular season wins. Even more impressive, dropping just 3 of their 45 games in that stretch. Consecutive wins to start off the postseason made their championship hopes look even more promising, but it's the undefeated Irvine Valley that ends their season, beating them 3-1. It's just the third time the Warriors lost all season long. Darlene Lee, a North Torrance alum, led the charge with 17 kills. South alum Brooke Russell had 28 digs, and setter Sadie Fraker tallied 44 assists. The Warriors combined for an unlikely 35 hitting errors in this one, though, ending their season in the third round of the Southern California playoffs. Now back to winter sports. The Torrance Tartars shared the Pioneer League championship with rival South High a year ago, only to watch the Spartans parade to a CIF championship in the postseason. The glass half full approach tells us the Tartars would feel confident heading into 2014, knowing they'd taken down a CIF champ just a season ago. The next step to proving they can hang with the best of them is an appearance in the South High tourney. But before they could get to that, they'd open up the season against Chadwick. So let's head out to Zamperini Stadium. South girls having a little moment before they kick off 2014. First half, Torrance already up 2-1. And boom goes the dynamite from downtown. Tartars would finish up the half up 3-1. Same score now as we move into the second half. Corner kick early. Karina Rodriguez with the header. Tartars now up 4-1, and they are cruising in this one to start off the season. Scary moment in the game just a little later. Haley Noble going to make a quick move around the defender, Juke, and she collides with the goalkeeper. That did not look good. No hard feelings, though. Chadwick still playing tough. And soon after that, 4-1, Tartars lead. Annika Rodriguez plays keep away before taking the shot. Squeaks it right by. Tartars blow past Chadwick to open up their season at home. Let's hear it from Coach John Martin after the game.
The reason we play preseason is to iron out the bugs and get stuff figured out. So we'll go back to the drawing board and we'll figure it out. We've got a lot of talent in this program, and I'm looking forward to a good year.
So next up, it was time to get down to business at that much-anticipated South tourney. The Tartars continue their strong opening week by beating both Redondo and West Ranch in pool play. That sets up a weekend meeting with the West Warriors, who also won their pool play games. West coming off last year's deep CIF playoffs run by scoring 10 goals in the opening weekend of the tournament, setting up the quarterfinals Warriors-Tartars matchup. As for the host school and the team with the bullseye on their back, the Spartans' 1-0 victories in pool play earned them a second date in a week with the Bishop Montgomery Knights. The Knights made that possible with wins over Valley Christian and Granada Hills, giving Torrance soccer fans 2 quarterfinal matchups between Torrance teams, all in one preseason tournament. In a preview of what's to come in that quarterfinal matchup, Bishop Montgomery upsets the Spartans 3-2. Natalie D'Angelo scores 2 goals to keep Bishop Montgomery undefeated early in the season. Meanwhile, the North Saxons also took to the pitch in the South Holiday Classic. Their first game is a 4-2 win over Notre Dame, followed by a 2-0 loss against Peninsula. That sends North to the 9th place bracket as the tourney moves on. All right, everybody, we're going to go to one more break. Coming up, it's the most exclusive list of competitors in all of surfing. South Bay surf fans have a rooting interest if or when 40-foot waves hit Oahu's Waimea Bay.
savings man here with a story for you about two young spenders named Tommy and Sue. Their parents let them buy whatever they chose, like video games and designer clothes. As they grew older, they spent all their pay on fancy cars, houses, 2 lattes a day. They lived in the moment, never saving a dime. When they tried to retire, they'd run out of time. Working forever is Tom and Sue's fate, so choose to save now before it's too late. Visit our website to find out more, cause a happy ending's worth saving for.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. Now imagine sharing the joy of adopting with your friends. Seeing the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pets and share with 5 of their friends who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org to learn more.
Hi, welcome back. A little over a year ago, professional surfer and South Bay local Alex Gray joined us on the Sports Desk to talk about seeing the world one freakishly large wave at a time. He shared stories of his first wave, which he caught right at Torrance Beach, and how that led to a lifelong love for the ocean. Now, as if the man hasn't crossed off enough adventures on all our bucket lists, the surfing world holds its breath for one more accomplishment. It may happen, it may not.
It gives me pleasure to announce to all of you that the Eddie will go.
The last time anybody competed in the Quicksilver in memory of Eddie Aikau was 2009. It was just the 8th time in the event's 30-year history the ocean decided to show up for the most prestigious celebration in the sport of kings. Open ocean waves no smaller than 20 feet, bringing 40-foot wave faces to the sacred Waimea Bay where Eddie Aikau, surfing royalty, dedicated the life of protecting others from the ocean's wrath. And if those conditions never come together, the contest is never held. But until then, the 28 surfers selected to compete stand on call from December 1st to February 28th every winter, waiting for their chance to be a part of surfing history. If the waves show up, surfers have 12 hours to be there. Perhaps it's the exclusivity, with just over 24 out of 7 billion people walking the earth being invited to compete, that brought South Bay local Alex Gray to tears when he got his first invite.
Is it like as emotional for everybody else too?
Or the fact that Mother Nature decides to give us an event, on average, every 3.75 years, that makes the Eddy so special. If this winter gives us a swell large enough to hold the Eddy, Alex Gray, who caught his first wave at Torrance Beach, will be a part of that history. But knowing Alex, it's not the rarity of the event or being on the elite list of big wave hellmen that will make having a South Bay representative so special. Eddie Aikau was storied to have saved over 500 people in his days as a lifeguard on Hawaii's North Shore. He was one of its greatest surfers and most respected watermen. When his boat capsized 12 miles south of Molokai, Aikau chose to swim for help, hoping to rescue his entire crew, but nobody saw Eddie again, and the ensuing search for his body was the largest air search in Hawaiian history. So this contest in his memory is more a celebration than a competition. It's a celebration of a life and the spirit of aloha. While Torrance sports fans scour the local pages and box scores for familiar names in the NBA or the NFL, hoping to see one of their very own in the big game someday, this year's Eddy will give them a chance to see one man make history as the world's first South Bay surfer to paddle into a wave at the Eddy. So when contest directors make the call to hold the Eddy, surfers have 12 hours to show up on the beach the day of the event. So if they're off somewhere else in the world, even though most of the surfing world lives on the North Shore from Thanksgiving on, alternates like Alex take that spot. Long-range surf forecasts have been predicting a potential Eddy-sized swell for this week. So since you won't be in as big a rush to get to Oahu, you can just tune in online for the live broadcast on aspworldtour.com or quicksilver.com/Eddie. TurkeyMelt.com is Alex's personal website where he keeps us up to date on his travels around the world, and all breaking news on the event and Mr. Gray's chance at South Bay surfing history will be on theinertia.com, who actually just produced a short feature film on Alex's life story. That's going to close the books on another week with the Sports Desk. As always, we're available on Facebook if you want to peek at what we're doing throughout the week and which games we're featuring. Facebook.com/SportsDeskTV, or if you'd like to email the show, it's the Sports Desk at torranceca.gov. Okay, we will see you next time, everybody. Have a great week.